Buzzworthy Radio is on. The entertainment show that gets you up close and personal with today's hottest stars. Here's your host, Novell J. Lee.
Hey, it's Novell J. Lee, and welcome into a new Buzzcast here at Buzzworthy Radio. I had the chance of sitting down and speaking with composer Dan Licht. Many fans will probably have heard his work in the former Showtime original series Dexter. We got to talk to him a little bit about that show and why I felt that was incredibly phenomenal. And then we also got to talk about Children of the Corn, too. Now, you may experience me having a little bit of a laughing fit about Children of the Corn 2. Some of my soap followers will probably know why that is, but it gets explained in this podcast why I kind of fell out when I talked about Children of the Corn. So here it is, our interview with Dan Licht. Check it out. This is Dan Licht I'm speaking with right now, and looking over your resume, you composed one of my all-time favorite shows, which was Dexter, by the way. Loved that show. Huge fan of that show and Michael C. Hall. So you did the work for all of the seasons that it's been on the air on Showtime. And I have to ask, what was it like composing for this show, and how were you able to come up with the music for this show? And it was just phenomenal work all around.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it was actually a really fun show to work on. It's always good when a show is working and you're not having to kind of hold its hand, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And so it's always a pleasure for a composer to work with a show that really works really well. Then my job is just to make it better. Right. And that's much better than just to make it watchable, which sometimes is what we're asked to do. Right. So I just feel real honored to be involved with such a great group of writers, actors, directors, throughout all those years, and have such a successful show as that.
It was an interesting comment I had with another music composer a few minutes ago, who you'll actually be with, if I'm not mistaken, at Comic-Con in the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And it was with Jeff Russo, and we were talking about how when they score scenes, there's instances where you don't have to worry about over-intensifying the scene with the music, because the actors that were present in those scenes, they were pretty much doing all the work, to where the music itself was just the supporting factor of the scene. Would you say that was the case with Dexter?
Well, I would say that in Dexter, the music kind of sort of stood on its own. I mean, frequently people would say that the music is almost like a character in the show. So in that sense, it was very different from a lot of other things. That at certain times it was background and it stood behind, but at certain times it really was forefront. So that's but I've worked on plenty of other things where it's much more supporting the drama as opposed to being kind of standing in the middle of the drama, if you know what I mean. Okay.
And I never knew this about you or anything in this particular aspect of it, but I just heard that 2 years ago there was a special Dexter concert event that Michael C. Hall introduced you at, and at the Largo, at the Coronet, and I never heard this before. This is the first time I've ever heard of this. So what was that experience like doing this event in particular?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. I did a couple concerts at Largo. I just decided at a certain time, it might be fun, since Dexter is not done with a huge orchestra, the music for it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of done with a bunch of random instruments, toy pianos, guitars, bass, percussion, vocalists. So I decided I wanted to see if I could put together the music of Dexter into a live concert using vibraphones and glockenspiels and toy pianos and harps and strings, a small string group. It was a lot of work, I have to say. Now I used to perform live, and now I remember why I stopped. I dragged a whole bunch of instruments around. I mean, it was great. No, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it much.
Sure.
But as a way to make a living, it's not as easy as what I do now. Let's put it that way.
Okay, fair enough. It was just interesting hearing that besides those instruments that you named, I'm looking and I'm going like, knives, wait, knives, and duct tape and scissors were also involved in this special as well. So I was kind of like, it makes sense considering the title of the concert event, but I would love to see it.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I also did I did a performance, a shorter performance at the final party for the 8th season, kind of the final rap party, and I decided to have the group come up and perform, but I hadn't done it for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I did one of the sections with where I'm actually using a knife as a percussion instrument with a sharpening tool.
Okay.
Except for when I was doing it a couple of years ago, I would sharpen the dull side of the knife, not the sharp side.
Mm-hmm. But
I had forgotten, to turn it around, and it was kind of dark. So I actually cut my finger.
Oh.
And the whole everything was like set up in blood splatter. The whole premiere party, they had blood everywhere on the floor and on everything.
Oh wow!
And I had actually cut my finger, and I was playing. I had to play the main title and then a couple other things, and my finger was bleeding. Mm-hmm. And the people thought it was a prop until I actually announced, no, I actually cut my finger. This is real blood dripping down my finger right now. They thought it was a gimmick that I had done. I'm like, no, it's not a gimmick. It really.
No, I really cut my finger. Oh, that's a shame. But somehow it worked.
I managed to play anyways. So I played through. I'm a showman.
There it is. Not a cut in the finger will stop me from doing what I need to do. So there you have it. That's a true musician right there, folks. But for sure. And you're now composing the music for the second season of The Red Road, which is set to take place in 2015 on Sundance.
Yeah.
Were you a part of the first season as well, or are you?
Yeah, I did music for the first season. Yeah.
Okay, you did first season. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the second. The first season was everything was very rushed, but this season we have a lot more time, so I'm looking forward to having a little more luxury of scoring each episode. You
started now, or you're getting ready to start doing that soon? I wasn't sure.
Pretty soon.
Okay.
Pretty soon. They're all kind of busy right now, but I should start that within a month.
Okay, very cool. And another one of the shows that I'm totally hooked on right now is The Blacklist on NBC, starring James Spader. Huge favorite of mine to watch. You do the additional music for it. Exactly what is the additional music that you do for that on that show?
I actually did some music for the first episode, and I guess they've been using it ever since. So I'm actually not working on The Blacklist right now. So that's I guess I'm just collecting royalties or something. I don't know. I'm not complaining. Evidently, something I wrote for the first episode they really like, and so.
You've been using it all the time. What exactly was it that you did?
I just, I scored a couple scenes. I guess, I don't know, it was kind of a last-minute thing. They needed some help with a few scenes, and I knew some of the people on it, and they asked me to come in and help out, and I did. And that's it. I guess they're still using it for something. So.
It might be a theme for a character. I'm not sure. You never know. So
I should probably watch the show to see. I mean,
yeah. It's a good show. I'm telling you, it's a guy show, so it's definitely a fun one to check out. So for sure.
Yeah, I like the episode that I worked on. Definitely.
So huge fan of it. So I can't speak enough about it. I think I'll pimp that out another day. But
okay.
I will pimp that out to you. I'll pimp that out to you another day for sure. But I'll say right now, watch the show. Just watch the show.
I'll check it out.
They're Netflix, NBC.com, just saying. But, but I don't want to mention this movie because if I know that there's somebody that's going to listen to this show and they'll start laughing because if I say Children of the Corn, they'll start laughing at me because it somehow has become a shtick with us on Twitter because it's being talked about on General Hospital on ABC Daytime for the past few months. And the reason why is because we kept talking about how there was a character on the show that let their child watch Children of the Corn.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just sitting here going like, who would let their 4-year-old watch Children of the Corn?
Uh-huh.
And
so there's a lot of talk about it right now on Twitter or whatever.
It has been. It has been for a while, especially since that aired when that happened. So now it's like being talked about again about Children of the Corn, and I'm just cracking up to myself seeing that you worked on that, and I'm like, oh, here it comes.
That's funny. Well, for a while I was specializing in children's music.
Mm-hmm.
I did Children of the Corn, and I did something called Children of the Night.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yes.
I'm joking, but
I'm aware.
But anyways, I did Children of the Corn 2 and 3. It's funny you should mention that because at the time I went over to visit one of my cousins who had small children, and she said, "Oh, my cousin said, oh, I'd love to hear some of your music," and I said, "Well, yeah, okay. Are you sure you want to hear it?" And yeah, I'll play it. And so I played her some music from Children of the Corn 2, which was out in CD. And then about 10 minutes into it, her little daughter came out of her bedroom and said, "Mommy, can you turn off the music? It's scaring me." So that made me feel really great.
That's the biggest compliment ever right there.
It was definitely doing its job, no question about that.
Yeah, you would not catch me watching or listening to any music from Children of the Corn at the age of 4 or 5. It was not going to happen. And this is coming from somebody that watched Child's Play and It. But
yeah.
There was no way that was happening, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Maybe now that I'm like 29 years old, I will attempt to do that, but...
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'll give you an update on that, too. But
okay.
we touched on the fact that you're going to be at Comic-Con on the 24th of this month.
Yeah.
And it'll be the Behind the Music special. And you're going to be that with a few other guys from CW3PR.
Uh-huh.
And is this your first Comic-Con event that you're taking part in, or you've actually done it before?
I have done it before. I think a couple times, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so I always like to go down there. That's always fun. I haven't been in a little while, though. It's probably gotten a little bigger than it has been. Keeps getting bigger every year, I believe.
It always does at this type of event, I think. There's always more and more people showing up. I have not been to one yet, and I would love to go to one just for the mere fact, as I mentioned to everybody else, I want to see what they wear. I want to see the costumes. I want to see that most specifically because there's just so many fans that are so into it, and I just want to experience the craziness in a good way, of course. But that's my highlight. That's my highlight.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Yeah,
and
it's always fun. It's always fun to find people who are enthusiastic about things.
I think with Comic-Con, it's enthusiastic. Period. I mean, because there's just these are fanboys, fangirls. People who I would fit in with because they love what these people do. Not just the actors and actresses that appear, but also those that do the body work behind the scenes of the show with the music, such as yourself, or the writers, producers, directors, everything that makes the show what it is. And I've seen a couple of the events. I watched the one that Phil Eisler was in from, I think it was a couple of years ago, if not 2 years ago. I think it was last year.
Uh-huh.
And you know, just going over about how, what's the best word to use it? I was going to say in depth of how to compose a show, like what goes into it. And it's so detailed. You will not find that in any other outlet that anybody talks to, because they really do go above and beyond to basically teach them something, in a sense, when they're there. You know, it's just, I learned more from it than I probably would have learned, than I would not have learned if I saw it somewhere else, I think. That's how I feel about it.
Well, that sounds like it could be fun. Now I'm starting to look forward to it.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, it always looks to be a good time. It's always packed. It's always full of people that are just, they're looking to have fun. They're looking to see their favorites. They're looking forward to seeing, they're just looking forward to being there. And you'll have a blast. You'll have fun. You know, it'll be a great time. I want stories, of course, on this show. So, of course, we're opening that door to have you come back. Not just for that sake, of course, but that is something that I did want. I did want stories from the experience. Right. So I would love to have you back on, and especially closer to when the Red Road premieres next year. So we'll definitely have you back on for that, to promote it.
Don't forget that the Season 8 Dexter CD is coming out end of July.
Coming out the end of this month. Awesome.
Yes, end of this month. So it's an extra special one. It actually has 3 cuts from the Largo live concert on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nobody tells me anything about DVDs anymore. Like, they don't keep me informed. So this is what I have you guys for. Thank you very much for telling me. So
it's the CD, actually, not the DVD.
Oh, I thought it was the DVD. Sorry.
No, it's the soundtrack. The soundtrack for Season 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it's going to be released in July.
Well, I'll definitely have that in my hands, too. So I'll be looking forward to getting that. And we can find out more about you on your website at danlicht.com. That's DANLICHT.com. And if you are going to be in the San Diego area, make sure you guys check him out at Comic-Con on July 24th for the Behind the Music special. So that'll be a fun time, as we mentioned previously, for you guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. As I said, the door's always open. We'd love to have you back on. And like I said, I want some stories from Comic-Con. Keep me in the loop. I don't want to be left out.
Absolutely, will do.
All right, take care.
Thanks a lot.
Many thanks to Dan Licht for stopping by the podcast today. You can find out more information about him by visiting his website at www.danlicht, that's LICHT.com. But that's it for me for right now. Novell J. Lee, making sure you keep getting the latest buzz with Buzzworthy Radio by logging on to our website at buzzworthyradiocast.com. You can also find us on Twitter at Buzzworthy Radio and liking us on our Facebook page. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.
From Twitter to iHeartRadio, Buzzworthy is everywhere. Miss the show? Log on to buzzworthyradiocast.com for past shows and videos of some of your favorite stars. Stay connected to Buzzworthy Radio.